Hello YouTubes, welcome to Wankel Wednesday. This week I've picked up more parts for the engine, including this. It's a wiring loom. And there's more. Now, I know what you're thinking. Dave, you don't need all those wires. And you would be correct. But I'm going to need some of them, so better to have all the wires than none of the wires. Also, there's lots of plugs on these wires which connect to all the sort of sensors that I've got. So I got all this from Kevin. He gave me a call, said I've got some more parts for you, Dave, so off I went. So he also gave me this. A little box of bits with 2 primary fuel rails, which is kind of frustrating because I need a secondary. I'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, I think they're the same. Anyway, I've got 2 to choose from. This is the oil pressure sender, which is also very interesting because I thought I got something from Duncan last week and it looks nothing like that. I'm so glad I got this. Main fuse box. Big one, 30 amp, 40 amp, 80 amp. He gave me this, which is the pressure sensor. Unfortunately, I don't think that's the right one either. I'm really struggling to find this thing. And he gave me a couple of these, which is nice because I did get one from Duncan, but it was really quite rusty. And these are perfect. This thing, I'll show you where that goes later when I get into the engine, which is under there somewhere. And this giant box, which I think is just a flasher unit. Okay, what was I talking about with the fuel rail? Oh yeah. The FC Turbo 2 fuel rail seems to be a bit of a unicorn. I think the problem is a lot of people use the FC Turbo 2 as a bit of a race car. Well, they'll use it as a stock car until it breaks, then turn it into a race car. The problem is that means they upgrade all the parts and just get rid of all the old parts. Hence why I'm really struggling to find the secondary fuel rail. However, tonight, hopefully, I'm on my way to see a guy called Rob up in Orangeville, who's hopefully got a full set for me. So fingers crossed that will be the last vital part of this puzzle to make a running engine. So it is way too cold to be sorting through wiring out here in the garage today, but there is one job I want to get done today, and that involves exhaustion. Oh, I need to get rid of all this white stuff again. Not long till summer. Right, give me a second and I'll get all this white nonsense off. Okay, let's get into this. I'm going to start at this side and see if my new parts are going to fit anywhere. I got this from Duncan last week, hoping, well, not exactly hoping, I was told it was the coolant sensor, coolant temperature sensor. And it should go in here where that broken wire is. There is one fundamental problem with that though. When I take this out, spoiling my view. When I take this out, God, how long is this? That's what she said. These sensors might look the same, but they are definitely not. This one, the new one, is much thicker than that one, and it will not go in that hole at all. It will, however, go in this hole and thread in nicely. However, I'm pretty sure that is the oil pressure sender, and this is one of the things that Kevin gave me the other day, and that screws in there nicely. So it looks like there's different size fittings for the coolant temperature sensor. Unless, I don't understand. I need to ask Duncan, because he did remove this from a running car that he was stripping down, so I need to look into that. Anyway, moving on. Let's have a look and see if any of these primary fuel rails are going to work. I mean, hopefully I'll be getting a whole set tonight, but you never know. So that's the mounting point, therefore it would go that way. Now, from what I've seen, this is a pulsation damper, and it's usually on that side. Obviously I can't put it on this side because then it's going to be way back here. It needs to be that close. So I noticed that the orientation of the other one is the opposite way around, which is what I've seen is the correct way around. So that would go on there. It's very close to that little oil squirter, which I'm not bothered about because I will be removing them and capping them, but if that was to be fitted like that, then there's no way for this. You can't see it, hold on. This thing here, right, it's pretty much resting on top of that, which is weird. Regardless, that looks like it's the right one. This pipe goes round, and obviously there's another fuel rail that sits along here, which I don't have yet. So fuel in, round there, up, along there, and back to the tank. So far, this one looks like it fits, but as I say, I'm getting a set tonight, fingers crossed. Okay, moving on. Actually, before I move on, let's make sure it works with injectors. These aren't the right injectors, by the way, so don't all freak out. I think the red ones are the right injectors, but not these orange ones. They are the same overall height and everything. So that would go over the injectors there. I'm really just checking for the sizing because I'm going to take this with me tonight, just to make sure I'm getting the right one. And that will fit. Okay, moving on this time. So moving round to the passenger side, you might have remembered in a previous video, I noticed this big hole here, and I had no idea what it was for. And to be honest, I still have no idea what it's for, but I've got this part to fill it. Again, Kevin gave me this. He did tell me what it was, but I've forgotten already. Some sort of diaphragm thing. So that looks like it gets bolted on there. I need to give it a good clean, obviously. No idea. I'm not even going to guess what that is, but it is quite sooty, so it's getting some blowback of some description coming through. Alright, okay, on to today's job. And that would be making a downpipe out of this. Because this is a turboed engine, that is my exhaust exit hole, and it has to fit between this point and this point. And it can't go underneath because that's the lowest part of the car. I'm not having anything underneath here. It's going to be a side exit exhaust. And then follow down the side of the car. So hopefully I can make this fit somehow. Might have to trim it down a bit. But I need to make some sort of flange there. Oh, this is very cold steel. This is going to be tight actually. Going to have to cut it right down to the where it starts bending, to be honest. I need to let go. This is too cold. You better not lick it, eh? Right, let me make a stencil of that. I'm going to use like 1/4 inch steel, use the plasma cutter, make a flange, cut that pipe to size that it fits. It's really just temporary for now. It was only like $10 out of Canadian Tire. And just so that if we do get this thing started, it doesn't sound absolutely horrendous and burn my seats. I could take the seats out. Ach no, let's make a downpipe. Right, let's get going. Not my prettiest weld, as usual. I should put that in a t-shirt, not the prettiest of welds, because my welds are never pretty, but it's an exhaust. Who cares, as long as it seals. So I just need to make sure this surface is flat, and I do have to grind out a little bit near this bolt hole so that the nut actually sits flush. Just a little 5mm into that weld. I had a feeling I might have to do that. I think this one's okay. And then once it cools down, we'll try it in the car. Well, when I say car, engine. Here we go then. Look at that. Fits first time. Obviously I've been measuring and sizing up as I've gone along. Let me just spin these nuts on and then we'll be done. These are the only nuts I've got, and this one's a bit dirty. You get the idea. That'll go on with a spanner. Obviously I'll need a gasket in there as well, but I think that looks pretty good. Plenty of room there, and I've got it coming down and sort of angled, and it'll come down to about here and then round the side. And if it's not right, I'll cut it off there and re-weld it, but that looks pretty good for now. And it'll certainly, well, I was going to say it'll quieten it down if I ever get it started, but it really won't. But I do have some mufflers I can throw on. Now that I've got a proper connection, I can do that. Quite happy with that though. Nice little project for the day. Don't know why I started sounding like an Aberdonian, but there you go. I've got two of these. They're like cherry bombs. Came off the hot rod and they're already heat wrapped. Ideal. So I'll be able to make something work, and I've got some lengths of 2.5 inch I think it is, and some 90-degree bends. We'll come up with something. I don't want to commit, as I say, because I don't know what the body's going to look like. Okay then, I'm off to Orangeville to hopefully get the last part of this engine that I need to get it running. But of course I need to learn all about wiring, so that's what I'll be doing for the next week. Thanks for watching, see you next week, take care, bye for now.